This will not be your typical should you summon video from me. I am going to answer the question, should you summon on this special ancient summoning banner specifically, featuring the legendary chaotic Lord Ghan, fantastic hero, and the chaotic piercer marksman, amazing hero, Sargak. But I can't just do my normal thing where I break them down and I go, player type and spender type through and try to answer that question, because I've been ruminating on a much larger thing going on in the game when it comes to performing ancient summons at all. And when I think you're allowed, or when I think the game allows you to do that. So what do I mean? Let's just go right into it. No intro. I just did a top seven legendary lords. If you want a full legendary lord ranking list, I'm happy to do it. Let me know in the comments. This is super informal. To prove to you that it is informal, I'm using Comic Sans typeface, but we exist in this world right now. These are the top 7. I'm choosing 7 because I'd rank Ghan 7, and he's a key unit here. Ghan is like a definitive S+ hero, fantastic tank, and a tremendous lord for a very important faction, especially as you get later in the game and you fill out the chaotic units. You fill out your chaos faction. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell most people not to summon on this banner, even though, yeah, he looks like number 7 here, but he's one of the best heroes in the game. Even in spite of that, I think we exist in a world that looks a lot like this. So let's make this very small. So you see, I'm saying Ingrid and Praetus are the 2 best heroes in the game, 1A and 1B. They're like equal. It's like a toss-up. I go back and forth on it. I think gun to my head, I'd rather have Ingrid, so that's why I put her first. But it's Ingrid and Praetus, then it's Valderon, then we got Yovar Cyrus, that finishes our top 5. Then we got Soul Cadence and Ghan, just outside of my SSS on my website, just outside of the top 5. But it's this, I want to graphically, visually actually show you what I feel like this actually looks like in terms of importance of having on your account, right? So we have Ingrid and Praetus, then we've got like Valderon, then we've got like Yovar, then we've got like Cyrus and Soul Cadence and Ghan. Something like this. Let's zoom way the heck out so you can see that. Like this is honestly what the game feels like to me right now when it comes to what you can barely see, right? But what you're hoping for with your ancient summons. There's Ingrid and Praetus. They are so far away the best across all content. Just the whole package. To me, they are the most important by a mile heroes in the entire game. Then we've got Valderon, who I think is so decidedly number 3 in a league of his own, as super important. However, you can see visually, I did this very arbitrarily. In my mind, as amazing as he is, it's not to the level in terms of just dominating important piece of content, true endgame royalty as Ingrid and Praetus. He's fantastic and he's definitive top 3. Then Yovar. Yovar gets better and better every time I use him. I've ranked Yovar SSS from the day he got previewed. I've never wavered on that. However, he buffs one of the best factions in the game, some of the very best heroes like Hex and Silas, but he doesn't bring the check every boxiness of these 2 up here, and he doesn't have the one-man wrecking crew, actual him as a hero, not as a lord ability of Valderon, even though he is a very, very good hero. And then these 3, only one of these 3 gets the SSS. I choose Cyrus. I think he's the best of these 3, but these 3 are then like the remaining standalone legendary lords that are just top of the heap. What makes it even crazier is these guys they're feeling necessary. I think, I'm not getting into specifics of the kit, but just if you want to take my word for it, they are such tremendous game changers in both PvE and PvP content, getting high on leaderboards, allowing you to perform well for your guild in Guild Wars, and then certainly allowing you to do stuff in Arena. But what makes it crazier and makes it maybe even more like this, let's go from Valderon here and let's just make this chasm even larger, is getting them is only half the battle. You need to get both, because them as a duo with Praetus as the Lord and Ingrid right behind him is the freakiest thing in the whole game right now. So it's not even just that you need to have an Ingrid and then oh, I hope I get a Praetus. It's like you need both. That's really the situation we're in. And then it goes one step further. You're not going to settle for an A0 Ingrid and an A0 Praetus. Are you kidding me? You need to keep targeting your summons to get dupes of them. You need an A1 Praetus and an A3 Ingrid. I truly think that is the minimum to be a top endgame competitor. And I know, and we'll get into this as we get into the second half of the video, very few of us are endgame people, let alone endgame competitors. However, most people that do these play these games and certainly watch videos of content creators like myself all the time want to know about max efficiency, making the right decision, use their resources efficiently, effectively, so they do not have to spend money, or they can spend money as little as possible, right? You can go full on free to play, or you can be a big spender, but you still want to, you know, cut all the right corners, do everything appropriately. So even if you're spending thousands a month, it's a couple thousands less. You understand what I'm saying? And I really think if you want to be in that situation where you're setting yourself for endgame, you know, and we will go over the situations earlier on when you shouldn't even be thinking about this yet. That'll be the second half of the video. The goal, as the game stands right now, is you want an A1 Praetus and an A3 Ingrid. I think those are the things you need in your pocket to truly like reign supreme as you try to conquer the game in the end stages. Do you need them for, like, if you throw out all the PvP stuff and you don't care about placing in codex like very high? No, you don't need them at all. You of course you don't. Like, I've beaten every single thing in the game except for Epilogue Stage 6, which now that I say it out loud, I'm sure I can beat now. So maybe I'll do that this weekend just so I can say I've beaten everything. But if you just want that, you know, that whole thing and get to the point I'm at now, or like, and then get Epilogue 6, Stage 6, if you want to get all that done as soon as possible, these are the ones that will most easily carry you there. The power creep that has come with these two is immense. I'm not even saying per se it's such a bad thing. I mean, games, when it comes to the ultimate meta, the ultimate endgame thing, they will have coveted pay-to-win things that people hope for or pay for. So I'm not even saying it's a fundamental flaw. However, it is something I want to touch on in a video because it's going to inform every single should you summon video I put out for the very foreseeable future, and then some, unless things really get shaken up in this game when it comes to should you summon using your ancient summons. Ghan can change so many accounts, but how can I in good conscience tell the vast majority of players to summon for Ghan even if he's paired with another really good non-Lord hero like Sargak, if any moment there could be an Ingrid or Praetus banner coming, right? It's such a wasted opportunity. There's obviously a huge like opportunity cost, like there's a huge risk if you keep skipping because you're falling behind because you're sitting on summons instead of using them to progress your account. And very well, as I learned, and I always learn because I've never pulled an ancient exclusive legendary lord, even though I save up a decent amount, a good amount for free to play when it comes to my ancient summons, right? Like I pulled on Ingrid's banner and I got nothing, and then I pulled on Praetus' banner and I got my 5th King Hearts, right? So that's just how it goes. Even if you set yourself up in the right way, you can still very much swing and miss. So let's bring this back to reality now. What am I trying to say here? Let's talk about the different kinds of players. Again, we're just not even going to do an intro. Let's talk about the different kind of players so I can kind of cement this with examples that can maybe help you. I think there are 3 kind of players. There are the very early players, and I don't mean like you haven't beaten anything, but you've only been playing for a couple weeks or a couple months, and you're not an insane crack and spender, so you don't even have a full roster yet. When I say that, I mean you don't even have every epic lord. If that's the case, if you don't have a lord for every faction, then I don't think you should be targeting any banners. You can still hit stuff accidentally, surprise, surprise. I've never hit a targeted banner lord, so nothing's guaranteed in any of this. I don't see like a limited 250 guaranteed on an ancient lord ever coming soon. I don't see there being a nascent lord for ancient's banner, obviously. So you're always going to be gambling anyway. If you're an earlier on account, let's say like you don't have a lord for Esotericis, you still need a Raiden. Or you don't have a lord for Chaotic, you still haven't even pulled Vladov. So if you're in situations like that and you're filling out your roster, just summon on every ancient banner. It's that simple. If you want to, like, if you're a patient person, you're not in a big rush to progress as fast as possible, then yeah, wait around for the banners that you really like. They come around more and more often nowadays, especially if you're not limiting yourself to like, it has to be Praetus, it has to be Ingrid, or maybe it has to be Valderon or Yovar. If that's you, then yeah, maybe you can wait, take every other banner off, waiting for the right one. Maybe you want a good non-lord hero rated up like a Sargak or an Ardia or a Carnelian, something like that. But in general, if you're at the point in the game where like you don't even have an Infernal Lord, you don't even have a Pyros, or you don't have a Raiden, as I said, just rip on every ancient banner, have fun summoning. That's what I would do. The next portion is the portion I've been addressing for, you know, almost this whole video. The people that need that Ingrid and the Praetus, right? The people that have progressed far in the game, and now you're like in a situation like me, where like what else should you be doing except, you know, waiting, saving for that perfect banner, going for those absolutely broken OP elite pay-to-win monsters. Hopefully you get lucky, and then you get to move on with your life, which is very unlikely for a lot of us unless we bring out the Amex, right? And then the third group is the haves, the people that already have these guys, the people that already have the A1 Praetus, the A3 Ingrid, and then you're filling out your other lords. And then you can target more specific lords, so like a lot of endgame players, big spenders. If you are in that situation, of course, if you don't have Ghan, you should be targeting him. He's going to be huge for your very specific progression. You know, when it comes to things like succeeding in Conqueror or the Block Codex, I forget the real name of it, the Healer, the Soul Cadence Codex, the Hellfire Emperor, you know, or you want Ghan, maybe if you don't have Valderon yet, he's going to help you a lot in Arena, so on and so on and so on, right? Then you reach a point where you can look for what I'd call more niche heroes, even though they are strictly very good, very dominant heroes. All these heroes on this top 7 list over here are really, really tremendous. You know, you should be happy to pull any of them and even pull multiple copies of any of them. That being said, until you reach that point where you kind of are in control with this current meta that seems to be not just the past few months of dominant meta, but a long stretching meta, I think if you want to be min-maxing and be doing it the right way, you don't have that luxury. So focusing on that second group, the people that are progressing well, you know, you don't have to be like me and haven't beaten everything, but you know, maybe you've beaten your gear raids, you're just beating your gear dungeons now, or at least that's all in your sights. It's time to size it up and assess, like, can you afford, if you're trying to min-max it, can you afford to go on a very good banner? I think no. I think the answer, should you summon, is no. I think all of us need to be saving and waiting for either a Praetus banner or an Ingrid banner until we have one or both of those heroes, and then still target them and hope, or, you know, as we hopefully get more and more copies of them. Or you can be like me. If you don't think I live by what I say, I'm in this tortured state where if we go over here, I've been sitting on 4 soul stones forever. I actually have a 5th soul stone I put into Twin Fiend about 7 months ago, and I have this whole time saved my hero reset book, so I can get that 5th one back whenever I want, right? I can reset Twin Fiend and I'll get that soul stone back. On top of that, I'm about to get my Odyssey quest. This is becoming personal, but I'm about to get this one tomorrow or the next day whenever I guess the end of the week when I do this Platinum 3. I will have 6 soul stones and I will not use any of them. None. It just won't happen, you know, because I am going to live by this philosophy. The way the game is currently, you can't have the fun of going for, I mean, if you want to min-max it, of course you can do whatever you want. None of this is gospel. But if you do want to min-max it, I think the game, there's a large enough disparity with those top 2 that you just don't have a choice. I will say, because I'm not so sweaty and everything doesn't have to be so perfect, I've you know, kind of lived by this rule. If anyone's kept up with my summoning, I go for these 4. These are the 4 banners I summon on. If Ingrid's on it, Praetus is on it, Valderon, or Yovar. I've summoned on Valderon's banner twice, Yovar's banners twice, and then Praetus came around once, Ingrid came around once. So just because I don't want to torture myself and wait around forever, and deep down we all know the next legendary lord I summon, which will be the next ancient banner I do because I'm going to hit pity, obviously will be my 6th King Hearts. It will be A5 Hearts. But yeah, you should make that assessment for yourself, like how much you want to min-max this. Because truly, I do think the gap is that strong, and especially if you want to be like super competitive in PvP stuff or on the Codex leaderboard, I think it's really important. So that's the backdrop of the situation we're in now. There's a final caveat before we wrap up with me briefly talking about Ghan and Sargak, the actual heroes in question, in case you really are interested in summoning for them. And both of them I give an S+. They both are fantastic heroes. The final consideration, though, is this. Let's head to the gallery and let's take a peek. We have all these factions, right? These are the 2 pay-to-win, ancient exclusive factions, essentially. And then we have, it is our 7 normal factions, if I'm correct. Yes, we have our 9 total factions, 10 if you count unnameable, but our 7 normal factions, those being Watchguard through Esoteria Order. Every single one of these 7, except for 1, so 6 out of these 7, all have 2 lords. Leia and Ingrid, we have Elder and Hearts, we have Morrigan and Demi, we have Soul Cadence and Twin Fiend, Yovar and Raka, you guys know where I'm going with this, Cyrus and Venoma. There is one faction that is still missing a 2nd lord, and this will be the ancient exclusive lord, as we saw with Ingrid being the 2nd to last one as the ancient exclusive lord for the Watchguard faction, and that's gonna be Nightmare. So we have Torador, amazing normal lord. He is a great hero, and he, especially for Guild Boss 2, he like wears so many hats. It's brilliant. He really is good in endgame content. Amazing to have. But part of the reason Torador is so good and so coveted is because there's no way better counterpart to look over to. And aside from in the North Throne, where I'm sorry, Anthony Matos, Elder sucks, every other one has a big level up. You know, Demi is not too exciting, but she still is better than Morrigan. And then the other 5 factions have definitive better lords. I mean, Ingrid versus Leia. Leia is phenomenal, but Ingrid is freaking Ingrid. You know, if we go over here, Twin Fiend is awesome. Soul Cadence is better at every aspect of the game. Aracha is barely deployable. I almost said deplorable. Barely deployable, and Yovar is completely and utterly brilliant. And then Venoma is literally useless outside of her Lord skill, and Cyrus is the best tank in the game. So what is going to come with this Nightmare Council when we get one? It is confirmed by the devs it will be a fighter. Believe it or not, we're getting a Nightmare fighter. If you want to know a fun fact, not counting Draga, who was originally added just as fusion fodder for Crodor and is only an epic, every other Nightmare hero, literally everyone since global launch, so since the original batch where we got like Azor and Torador and so on and so on, every single new Nightmare hero has been a fighter. That is unbelievable, and that is a fact. But yes, the new Nightmare Ancient Exclusive lore will be a fighter. I think it's very likely they're going to do what they did with Ingrid over here, making her a Lord of the Watchguard, but also having dual faction Supreme Arbiters. I think the Nightmare Lord, that when he finally comes, will be a Nightmare Ancient Exclusive Legendary Lord, but also have dual faction Chaotic. That feels appropriate to me. I could definitely see that being a thing, similar to the Epic Lord over here, Vladov. I would be shocked if this Lord isn't insanity. I would be completely floored if we go back to that list for a final time, if that Ancient Exclusive Nightmare Lord is not at least somewhere, you know, at least better than Cyrus, if not somewhere next to Yovar or Valderon, or who knows, maybe is the new meta redefining one, or just one notch below an Ingrid or Praetus. They will be somewhere between like number 1 and number 4 or 5. Like, it's going to be an unbelievable Lord that many of us are going to want to save for. So now you're fully informed as to, like, my big picture theory, where my head's at, this kind of situation, on why, like, in general, I do not think full stop the vast majority of players should ever be summoning on these ancient banners. The exceptions, in my opinion, being Yovar and Valderon if you don't want to perfectly min-max and you just want unbelievable top-tier Triple S heroes. And then if you want to perfectly min-max, for now, just Ingrid and Praetus. Ingrid, that's what we can call them together. So that's all the information. I think it's an interesting thing. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments. Chat with your guilds about it, stuff like that. I just think we're at this point where it's like, I should be thrilled, right? And not to make him out myself, but I'm 28 ancients away from pity. Just, you know, it's a good example right in front of us, so let's just use me. If we go to currency, I've got 22 of these. After this week and any other stuff, if I wanted on Monday, there's no doubt in my mind we could get into pity. We can make this thing happen. And I could have a shot at Ghan. I'd have like a 40% chance at Ghan, and that would be game-changing for my account. And there's no shot in hell I'm going to do that. And I think now you all understand why. And this is just a general kind of thing to consider for absolutely everybody. Let me know what you think. Again, am I being too extreme? I think the gap between the Praetus and the Ingrid, and then certainly if you lump Valderon or even Yovar, but that top 3 and the field, it's too big. Not again planning out the game, but I think it's too big to let you just play around on other banners if you do in fact want to min-max. All right, let's very quickly, I won't even cut, we'll very quickly go over these 2 heroes and I'll give you the spiel. Ghan is the 2nd or 3rd best tank in the game. I'd say the top 3 are Cyrus, Ghan, and Brokir. I think Cyrus for me is a definitive number 1. I'm talking just as a hero though. Then it's Ghan and Brokir. If you want sheer utter tankage, and you are running a Northerner Lord, Brokir probably just outpaces Ghan, especially with Awakenings, but it is very, very close. However, I do think Ghan is the better tank because of everything else he brings. Completely ridiculous when it comes to actually being able to deal damage. The only good damage dealer in the game that doesn't scale off of attack. It's not that good, but it actually is something. He actually has the best Lord skill of all Chaotics. It is better than Valderon. Valderon's kind of a selfish boy. Ghan, as you can tell by his cinematic featuring every freaking Chaotic in the game, is very, very much a man of the people. Pretty incredible stuff. So he can put out, there was Sargak. He can put out some DPS. He can really tank. He even has his own form of like an unkillability in his kit. So it's called insensibility. So it's his own version of invulnerability. The gist is when he gets a first drop under their threshold, which you can change with skill ups, all damage will just be 10. That's not 10% of what it should be or anything. It's just 10 points of damage. This guy has some big boy stats. You know, easily you could have him at 80, 90, 100, 110k, even 120k, depending on the build if you want to not go for a defensive thing and get that DPS benefit. But even going heavy on defense, you can have like 10k defense, 100k HP. So you're losing 10 damage. So not 10% of 100k or something like this, or if they were going to deal 5,000, now they're dealing 500. No, it's just 10. So it's basically just completely invulnerable. Very strong. And then just overall, he can tank really hard. He's got the best block in the entire game. You throw a Bastion Ring on him, and then he's got 4 block. His base of 3 goes up to 4, and then during his ultimate, he increases it by 3, and also has a nice support function, giving physical damage reduction to himself and all allies in range. You're getting 7 block with him if he's got a Bastion Ring and you're using his ultimate. Completely brilliant for a lot of stuff. Best Lord for Conqueror. Just so good. Can do also his tanky job, his invulnerable job really well there. And then obviously for Hellfire Emperor, he is in every single top team, right? Really good hero, really exciting, nice arena mastery as well. He's going to be an amazing leader in a lot of PvP stuff. However, where you really want to use Chaotix, Valderon will be the choice, because Valderon also gets to be the hero Valderon, not just the Lord Valderon. And there you go. Awakenings are pretty solid. The reduction in the cooldown for that kind of invulnerable state is nice. So instead of 90 seconds, it's 20. He gets some more defense. That's fine. He's also going to get the Lord benefit of increased damage. Now with his A3, after his ultimate ends, he's going to have a nice big burst based off of his defense. So some more DPS. Increased reductions, typical of any legendary tank. And then he gets bonus range during battle cry. Shout out to Jet or Fibu. You might know Fibu as the name because you see it all the time on all the leaderboards. He asked me to go check what that range was like on the ultimate, and essentially it becomes like Constance or Dolores range. So you get a little addition on the end of this. I went on test server and checked that out. All in all, it's just really fantastic hero. But just again, he's just an S+. He's not on that completely broken triple S, and certainly not the super triple quadruple S like Ingrid and Praetus. Sargak now got a bad rap for forever. You can go back to when they first said they were adding the chaotic faction. I was playing the game back then. I said this was the guy I was most excited for. Has a take ever aged more like wine? Completely brilliant. I thought he'd be a great DPS. I didn't know all the beauties of his kit. I was like, oh, when he loses health, he's going to shoot faster, so he's going to be really nice. And that was kind of the end of it. Things like GVG didn't exist. We had different maps in Arena. What has actually come is if you use him right, and you can kind of, especially with a Carnelian for typical PvE content, he can put out damage akin to like a Silas or certainly a Lucius when you use Lucius well. One of the best shredding, piercing damage marksmen in the entire game. However, in PvP content, since very rarely, except for some stuff in GVG, but if you use him effectively, you won't have to deal with it. You can kind of hide him from the damage. He doesn't need to be healed. And if he doesn't need to be healed, you can take the greatest advantage of this passive over here, Bellicosity. So all you really need to know is he's got nice DPS in his kit. He can get bleed out, and then he can be ignoring chunks of defense. He becomes ridiculous when you take full advantage of this. Basically, with skill ups, he increases his attack by 10 for every 1% HP lost. The effect of specialized attack is stronger when his HP is lower. He is a specialized attack hero. So essentially, more attack speed does more to lower his attack interval as his HP gets lower and lower. So it's like a super juiced up specialized attack. And he can't kill himself, you know, when damage is being dealt himself, which is also something he does. So he can't kill himself, but if you're not healing him, he can bring this down to like 1% HP. So you're talking 99 times 10 attack speed. So, you know, he's lost 99%, 10 attack speed per 1%. It's 990 attack speed. The max attack speed in this game from the file is 1200. You can get him there as long as he's like very much on the brink of death. He's an absolute machine gun with these blood spears. It is ridiculous. So in stuff like that, in that PvP content where he's not really going to take damage, especially single target arena, anti-air arena, and then a lot of nice GVG comps you can get going, this guy is a super duper star. So for you endgame players, he's someone you'd want to target. That all being said, though, I love these two heroes. They would be two of my top heroes in the whole game I want on my account, and it's a skip. And I think a lot of you should probably do the same. If you don't want to skip, and especially if you made it to the end of this video, I might be doing a pulse party tomorrow. We already had one person reach out to me, even though I didn't announce it. If at least 2 more people do want summons, I will do it. I'm not saying this is a bad banner. In my opinion, this is an unbelievable banner. I just think we've kind of gotten pushed into a corner, the vast majority of players, that says, hey, if you don't have these 2 completely game-changing, defining heroes, you got to sit on your hands and wait for them to come up on a banner so you can take your shot and really just cross those fingies and hope for the best. If you do want that pulse party, just DM me directly at Fastidious_GG on Discord, or just tag me on my Discord, the Fast and Fastidious. We're almost at 5,000 members. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a totally different type of video. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. If you thought it was fine, you can also let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Get in the comments, let me know everything. Share with your mother, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.